Hey mini enthusiasts, how are you doing? Welcome back, hope you're well, hope you're having a great day. Back on Project Bruce today. As you can see, I'm a little bit ahead with the footage. So this is kind of a bit of a preview for what's coming up in the channel. In today's video, however, I am going to be cleaning up the inner wings, repairing them, flitch panels, getting it all ready for the panels to go back on the front. In the previous video, a lot of people commented about the front screen. So yes, I hold my hands up. I made a mistake. I should have covered the front screen up or taken it out while I was grinding, because those grinder sparks come out, they're red hot metal and that can embed itself in the glass and damage the glass. I started seeing those comments. Straight away, I'm like, you numpty. Whenever I've done it before, I've been doing a scuttle panel, it's all been out on the front. This time round it wasn't. I come straight out into the garage, I cleaned it off, and I have just been very, very lucky. So 98% of it cleaned off absolutely fine. There was a bit right down in this bottom corner that you could feel there was embedded grinder dust or grinder metal in the glass. I went along with a Stanley blade and cleaned that up. It's cleaned up. It feels smooth, it's perfectly crystal clear. I get that there might be some micro blisters in the glass now, but it's right at the very bottom, so I'm not worried. You cannot see it with a naked eye now. I only know it's there because I felt it. But you are quite right, cover it up or take it out. Again, I'm a numpty, it's not bad. Luckily, I got away with it. I didn't do too much damage, and I think that's just because I wasn't directly grinding, cutting, and it was spraying directly at the glass. It was always either rebounding off something or going up in the air. Also want to say thank you very much for your support. Thanks for your subscriptions. Welcome the new subscribers. I was over the moon to hit 10,000 subscribers in 2021. So I had that target and it just went mental. New Year's Eve, I thought I'm not going to hit 10,000 subs. I put a little comment on the community post, and I don't know if you guys shared it or whatever, but all of a sudden I ended up getting 35 or 40 subscribers, literally just New Year's Eve. Hit that 10,000 mark, woohoo! That is absolutely amazing, thank you, I really do appreciate it. And if you'll see down the bottom now, I actually have some merch now. So you're able to do that when you hit 10,000 subs. So there's various different ways of supporting the channel. You are supporting the channel now just by watching this video, by being a subscriber, by giving it a thumbs up and leaving a comment. That's all I ask you to do. I really, really do appreciate that. Some people want to give a little bit more. So there's the buy me a beer, buy me a coffee. There's a link in the description, and you're basically making a donation to the channel. Most of that donation comes to me, and I use that donation to buy things like GoPros, computers for editing. It gets quite expensive with things like that, so thank you very much. And if there's anything spare, it just goes into the channel, basically into the restoration, so really appreciate that. And as you see, there's now a merch store down the bottom. So my wife was doing t-shirts and things a year or so ago now as a bit of a hobby, but they just weren't good enough quality. These t-shirts and the merchandise down here are really good quality. I ordered some samples myself, and you will see they're a little bit expensive. So, you know, I make no bones about that. They are more expensive than you'd see in a shop or something like that. And the reason for that is they take their cut, and I get a small cut of that as well. So a few quid of that comes to me. So there's a few different ways of supporting the channel. The main one's just thanks for subscribing, liking, watching the videos. I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I'm humbled by 10,000 subscribers. I really am. Who knows where the channel will be next year. So anyway, let me stop waffling on and let's get back into Project Bruce and get it done. Right, this is an interesting one. So before I take the wheel off, I thought I would check the suspension joints. So give it a wiggle from side to side, have a good look, swivels, track rod ends, and see if there's any play there. Ball joints, up and down, and I noticed on the up and down there is a little bit of movement there. But when I look closer, the actual movement, don't know whether you can see this, so when I wiggle it up and down, the actual movement is in the swivel cup, not in the swivel itself. Can you see that? It's very, very small amount, but when you twist the wheel, the hub is turning independent of the swivel. That means the swivel nut is loose, and in fact, if I twist it right round, you'll see And what can happen is that just ends up undoing itself. So there's a couple of reasons for that. It could be that the swivel was assembled too tight, so not enough clearance in there, and then when you turn the wheel it literally undoes the nut. Only one side of the lock tabs have been knocked over, so there's not much holding in it anyway, but that's really dangerous. That you can even see the nut on the top of the spring washer there has splayed out. So again, not a great job, but a good spot. I have got swivel kits for the car, so we will be doing them, but yeah, it's one to watch out for. That is literally just undoing that swivel nut there. Mad, isn't it? Right, I've got some really good news. So just as a bit of a reminder, this is what the inner wings look like. It's what most of the car looks like actually. It is covered in a thick, really thick underseal, probably about 2 to 3 mil thick in places. And I'm just worried about what it's hiding. It's certainly all under the rear subframe's just covered in it. So I've just started on the, I say just started, I've been on it for hours, on the offside. And look at this, look at when you clean it off. The inside of that wing is just phenomenal. Yeah, I'm amazed. There's little chip marks. I literally have to go along with a hammer and chisel, and it comes off in great big chunks like this. You see how thick it is, but it's everywhere. But it must have been put on the car pretty early in its life, because how often do you see an inner wing that looks like that? So I've been doing loads and loads of stuff off camera, so I apologise. I just wanted to get on with it, to be honest. I've cut the closing panel out now, and as you can see, there's a big chunk of metal missing up inside of here. We've got the inner flitch panel. This outer bit has all been chopped out because it was rotten, but as you can see, we get to good metal pretty quickly. So I'm going to need a flitch panel and probably chop it. This is the big section which come out up here. So as you can see, absolutely rotten as a peach up the top. The good thing is that is just acts like a closing panel up the top. So it is tacked in right at the very top there, just behind the windscreen. And I reckon, I've had a good look, I reckon I can just about get to it. The good thing is with the dash and everything out, you can get to access from both sides now. So it does make it a little bit easier. I'll need a closing panel. I've had to cut the corner of the scuttle off here, but I have a scuttle repair panel if I need to remake this little bit. But the first thing I've got to do is get that repair section in first. This is an original scuttle. I'm not sure how well you'll see underneath, but yeah, it's spotless. There's no rust there at all. It's not been filled. It has got the, probably quite hard to see because there's multiple layers of paint there, but it's still got the VIN number stamped in it. So it is the original scuttle. Really pleased with that. Another bonus, obviously, shock mounts. I was brave enough to take off the shock mount. Again, can you see how clean and tidy that is now I've taken the underseal off? It was corroded behind, pretty typical to be honest, so I've just cut it out, welded in a new section there. So that's all going well. And I need to repair these bits at the front. I'll just chop that out, weld in some new metal, and I'll weld a new corner in here rather than trying to drill out this spot welds here, because yeah, in the past I've found it's just easier to chop it out, put a new piece of metal in. See this horrible jagged bit down the bottom here? I wasn't sure what had happened there, but someone had put a metal bracket in here with a couple of screws and just screwed it in place. This has literally just been hacked off down the middle. I would imagine they've got tin snips or, I don't know, a blunt pair of side cutters or something like that. And they've cut this open. Now, the reason they've done that, I reckon, is to pull it back and get to the engine mounting bolts, because they are a real pain to get to. And someone has obviously just taken a proper bodge shortcut and just chopped the inner wing out, pulled it back and then screwed it back into place. So I need to dolly that out now, clean it up, weld all that back up again. There are other things to do, as you can see, some mechanical stuff as well. The boot's all split there, knuckles gone. But I'm very, that inner wing is just amazing. That is actually in better condition than Project TARDIS on the inner wing. There's literally, there's no rust at all where it's been covered. So it's done a great job, that under seal, and I would think it was probably done early on in its lifetime, just because of the condition of it. But obviously it's a 40-year-old car now. I need to clean up these edges a bit more. As you can see, last time the wing was done, it looks like it's been brazed on. So that's a bit strange, but there is clean metal there. There's a few holes which I'll probably weld up before, yeah, I'll probably weld these holes up, which are from the old original spot welds, linish them back and prep that ready for the new wing to go on. But yeah, I'm generally pretty happy. I've been on it most of today, to be honest. I've probably spent 4 or 5 hours doing this now. So probably way too long, and I wasn't going to clean all that under seal off, but when I saw how clean it was behind it, I thought, I've just got to, haven't I? So, yeah, let me get on. I need to do this bit, cut that section out, finish up that inner wing, and we're ready to start putting new metal back in. Right, I think that's me for today. It's gone 9 in the evening now, so it's too late to be welding and grinding. I've been on this most of the day. I've probably been a good 5 or 6 hours solid, and I've probably filmed 5 or 6 minutes. So yeah, apologies. Just one of those days. I just wanted to get on with it and make some progress. Sometimes when you're stopping and starting filming, and yeah, it just takes so much longer. Obviously I've made some good progress today, but it does seem to have taken a hell of a long time to do it. So obviously I've welded in sections in the front here where I've cut out the old parts of the front end. We sorted out this big split down here which had been cut out. I've welded in a repair section on the shock top mount. All the flitch panel is cut out, ready for new flitch panel to go back on. And all this edge up the top here has been cleaned up, redressed. There are a few holes in there from the previous spot welds where they've been drilled out from new. So I've welded those holes back up. So yeah, I've just got to get the other side done now. And obviously I've got to get those flitch panels welded back in. I'll probably film welding the flitch panel back in. Right, check this out. So while working down the side here, I'm just cleaning up the inside of there. I was looking at the battery cable down inside here, and I noticed it looked like it had been fitted incorrectly. More importantly, it looked like it was potentially rubbing against the engine. So I decided to take the battery cable out just to check it for safety, and look what I found. Look at that. So that's exposed wires there where it was basically touching the engine. There's also a big split in the insulation there. So while that's a tad annoying, because this will need a whole new cable. In fact, I've just noticed back here as well. Oh, look at that. It's been rubbing all over the place, hasn't it? And while that's a pain, because it's 40 quid for a new cable, that's just a fire hazard, that is. I mean, that must have, I might just take the insulation off and we'll have another look actually, but that must have been rubbing, and it must have just been cutting out the electrics, but that would be a good point for starting a fire. Wow, there we go. That is scary. So this black insulation is all burnt. It has like the normal insulation, an extra thick bit round here just for added protection. So of course we got that. We've got where it's been rubbing through there, and literally this has been going for a long time, because there's not that many strands holding it together, to be honest. If I start to wiggle that, it will probably break off. Anyway, you get the point, don't you? There's barely any strands left on there anymore. So we got exactly the same on this side with the swivels. As you can see, in fact, this one is really, really loose. You can see there's probably a 1/2 mil gap underneath the swivel cup. Again, it's just turning independent. Another bit of good news, I guess, before I get stuck in this side, I've just taken the drum off. I've done the same on the other side just to see if it needed shoes and cylinders, because yeah, next time I place an order I might as well order them. But the shoes look almost new, brand new. Cylinders look absolutely fine. The way to check these is lift the rubber back, make sure there's no leaking, no fluid inside there, and then what you want to actually do is lift the shoe and make sure the piston inside is moving. So it has a little spring clip which pulls on the piston. As you can see, that's moving nicely. If I check the bottom one, again dry, no fluid. Right, so there we are. Only took probably half hour, 40 minutes to clean that all up. One real plus point is the behind the shock mount isn't corroded. That's fine. And very much like the other side, it's very well preserved. There's a bit of rust right up the very top here where obviously it didn't get under sealed, but it's solid. There's no holes there, so that's just going to get cure rusted. Down the bottom here, I think I'm gonna, you need this return lip to put the A panel back on. Of course, it's completely missing down the bottom. It's a bit grotty down here, so I'll probably go just above that first hinge, along and down the bottom there, and we'll just use a repair panel for in there. In fact, yeah, shall I use I'll use a repair panel. I was going to say I could probably fabricate that. Don't know, I'll have a think about that. But the rest of it, again, is really, really good. Really pleased with it. I haven't cleaned off between the grills here because it'll be a pain. I don't know what I'm going to finish these in afterwards once it's all back together. whether I stone chip it or whether I just go up with a bit of body colour and then just put some wax up inside there, some like clear Dynax. So again, scuttle panel's okay this side. I've had a look inside that closing panel. I would like to say I've done this deliberately, drill out all those spot welds. For some reason, I don't know, I made a mistake. I started removing the closing panel, but the closing panel is solid. So I need to weld them back in, but I've just levered it down again inside. Looks inside, there's no filler. It's nice and clean inside the scuttle. So I'm happy that the scuttle's fine. Next step is going to be to take off this remaining bit of wing here, this last strip, and I might just show, because I know people ask sometimes how do you do things. I might just show this one. So the first thing I'll do is go along with a strip disc, which is one of these, and it just removes paint. And what that should allow us to do is, once the paint's removed, you should be able to see quite clearly where the spot welds are, and then I can just drill out the spot welds then. So there we go, that was quite straightforward. So that is the bit we drilled out and taken off, which is the remains of the wing. And we've actually got a good surface to weld to here. There's a couple of holes where I drilled straight through, but I would, like I said on the previous video, just back them with a bit of copper, plug weld that hole up,